All right, welcome everybody. We're 5 minutes past, so go ahead and get started. I don't imagine this will take a whole hour unless we have lots of good questions, which we very well might, which is great. I mean, some people might come in and trickle in. So thank you for being here. This is awesome. And we have some familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces, which is fabulous. And I didn't ask them to do this, but we have a number of parents here who are going to be starting in the fall and are going to come check us out. So I was, if at all possible, could you just stand and introduce yourself and maybe just say what grades your kids are going into? That would just be helpful for us to know who's here.
Sure. Preston Peterman, and my daughter's Amelia, and she'll be starting kindergarten.
Jenna Olson, which is Jordan, will be in 6th grade in the fall.
Welcome, Jordan.
I'm Allison McKay, and I have 6th grader Mara. I'm Hannah Hickey, and I also have an incoming 5th grader Alan.
I'm not sure if this counts, but my son is in 1st grade and he just started like a month ago.
Yeah, go
So,
Bees.
I'm Paige, we're new, but not as new as some of you.
Hi, I'm Gareth. I have actually 2 kids starting. My daughter will be starting 3rd grade. So starting 3rd grade.
Anyone else trying to hide? But it's just, again, absolutely fabulous that you chose to come out tonight. Welcome. I hope that you're able to connect with parents after this, or myself, just because you have a whole wealth of knowledge here. Some people have been here probably like 10 years, some of you, or more. So super cool to have you be joining our community. Let's go ahead and just start with prayer. You don't have to read this tiny text, but I love this prayer, especially as we start to talk about academic endeavors, our intellectual pursuits, and always to root that back in Christ and where Christ came from, his mother, known as the seat of wisdom. In the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. All Holy Father, eternal God, in your goodness, you prepared a royal throne for your wisdom in the womb of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Bathe your church in the radiance of your life-giving word, that pressing forward on its pilgrim way in the light of your truth, it may come to the joy of a perfect knowledge of your love. Grant this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. Our Lady, seat of wisdom, pray for us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So I don't know if they've ever had an evening quite like this in the past, but I just thought it was important for me to connect with you personally rather than sending an impersonal email of things that are coming down the pipeline. And I like to think that they're good changes and happy things. So it's nice to be here in person together to talk about them, to ask questions and whatnot. It's really just to keep you informed. We make a ton of internal decisions on a daily, weekly, minute by minute basis. And I just want you to kind of know what we're thinking in here. And all of this is really to support your students. We want, to strive to be the best academic school we possibly can be, as well as true to our Catholic mission. We don't want to compromise on either of those. And we truly think that beautiful Catholic both and, we can do those both beautifully together. So the purpose is just to show how we're doing that and how some changes might look going forward. And then for you just to be excited and to tell more people like these fabulous folks to come here and check us out, because there's good things going on. And I had to throw this picture up here of Miss Bender's Market Day drama, like the amount of excitement in here last Friday. That's what I'd like to see for the next school year. Market Day was where the kids came in, they had something like a business plan, or they were going to figure out how to market their goods, their wares that they were selling. So we had lots of cookies, lots of baked goods, but also, what do we have, Jenny?
Oh gosh, we had girls who created their own art. So they did drawing and they did little clay figurines. The boys actually drew their own baseball cards. that they sold. We had lemonade, we had cookies, we had brownies, we had lots of like mystery boxes. So they got to buy the mystery box and you didn't know what you were going to get. So it was lots of fun, but it taught them about marketing and advertising and what their key audience is, and brought the third and fourth graders down to shop, and they got to use vendor bucks to buy things. And then we counted it at the end, and we talked about what was successful, what wasn't, and how we would change things for next year. Eleanor's tablecloth was, she said that's what made it, so they don't want a tablecloth now. But it's super fun.
And we'll try and do a better job of just sharing these things out on social media so you can see the good things that are happening in our building, because there's a lot going on. We're going to start with what I think maybe is the biggest news, and she's sitting right over here. Sarah, give us a wave. Give Sarah a hand. So I didn't ask for Sarah's permission. So is it okay if I put you? Miss Delgado is our current first grade teacher, and she's absolutely amazing. I learned something new just pedagogically, classroom management wise, each time I go into her classroom. You've been at St. Al's for 3 years. This is year 3, excellent. She has 2 kiddos at St. Al's who are sitting over here with her. So she's locked in to St. Al's, which is really cool. She is also a Grace teacher leader, and the way that this is kind of set up in the Archdiocese, there's a few teachers, usually from every school, because if you're like me, you're running around with your head cut off. I need some people to support me and help our other teachers in the building. She's been one of them and has been fabulous leading our professional learning communities. She's got a lot of great experience and years of experience in Texas, where she was, I think, like teacher of the year a couple times at her school, which is quite awesome. But her passions, again, professional learning communities, helping with curriculum, mapping it out, how are our kids going to be most successful from grade to grade to grade, literacy development, social emotional learning, mentoring of young teachers, and coaching. So for me, it was a little bit of a no-brainer for me to put Sarah into this role, because like I said at the start of this, I want to see our students grow. I want to see our teachers grow. And this is a way for us to do it. And I'll provide just a little bit more rationale here of why a vice principal. Because again, this is my first year for all of you out here who don't know me. This is my first year at St. Al's, and I don't know if there's been a vice principal in the past several years. But I said back at the State of the School address that next year and the years to come are about investing in our teachers, because our teachers really are our most important asset. And I stand by that. And we talked about, hey, the cost to educate, it's right here. What we pay for tuition is right here. So there's a bit of a gap. And we really do want to close that gap financially. But it's not just about a financial investment. This is an investment in human capital. It's an investment in talent. And we really need an additional person to help us grow and develop, because we are learners as well in here. I'm a learner, just like your students are learners. Our teachers are learners as well. And we want to get better every single day. And having Sarah in this role is really going to help us do that, particularly with some of the curriculum that we're going to be implementing over the next few years. You know, I understand the optics of hiring a vice principal, especially when I talked about at the State of the School. We need to raise teacher salaries and whatnot, and we're still committed to doing that. But the optics are, well, you're adding another administrator, you're adding another head count. So I see that, but I really want to play the long game for St. Alphonsus. I don't really want to be like year by year survival mode. I would prefer to take the approach of, this is going to be an investment for us. It's going to push us a little bit, but it's going to make our school better. And it's going to put us on firmer footing, I believe, in the next several years to have a role like this. I also think just having a more distributed talent goal across our leadership team. Frees up resources to do some more outward facing work to build enrollment, get the word out about St. Al's. So we're not just that small school tucked behind 15. For me, this year was really kind of an inward focus, getting to know you all, getting to know the students. I'll still continue to do that, but I'd love to take a more outward focus in the years to come so that we can generate the momentum and the enrollment that we need to have a really healthy budget and financial footing. So that's kind of the why. There's lots of puzzle pieces we're trying to fit here. And another reason why I thought Sarah was going to be ideal for this role is because she knows how to work individually with our teachers in the building and how to build those strong relationships. I think the teachers are excited and they're going to feel supported next year. So thank you, Sarah, for saying yes to this. We're going to take a nice smooth transition to lunch. A lot of you have been asking, or were asking at the start of the year, what's lunch going to be like? And as you know, we kind of just strapped together something so we could have something on a few days a week this year. We are going to say goodbye to my hot lunch box. Sorry, not sorry. But we are going to be going with Queen Anne Catering, who works in a number of Catholic schools around us. They've been working in this area for over 20 years, specifically in private schools. And guess what? We're actually going to use the cafeteria or the kitchen for what it's for. On-site food preparation, cooking, serving lunches that will be done in-house. It's not going to be delivered. It's not going to be cold. It's going to be prepared right here, and only for $6.50, which I think is probably half of what the lunches are right now, or close to. Lunches will be, as I said, every day. You'll have an entree, serving veggies, fruit of the day. Pulled off a few sample menus from online. You know, this is hard to read. Let me just see if I can read. So, relatively healthy. Popcorn chicken, soft taco, pasta marinara, chicken burger, pepperoni pizza pita. Other schools I saw whole grain waffles, bagel lunch. There's a bagel lunch option every day. So if your kid just doesn't like anything, maybe a plain bagel will do. You don't have to do cream cheese, but pasta Alfredo, quesadillas, mac and cheese, noodles, corn dog, kind of your standard fare, but I think stuff that's proven that kids like and will eat, and hopefully relieve some of the burden on you for packing lunch, and it seems affordable. Ordering, I believe, will just work online. It's not going to be the same system, so we'll have to communicate out how that's going to work. But I think you can drop off a check. You could do online ordering. There's a monthly menu that's sent out the month in advance. So you can kind of circle maybe what you want, send that in. So that's new hot lunch. Question?
I realize I'm sitting at a nut-free table, but I have certainly been putting nuts in my kid's lunch since he started. I didn't even think to ask, but at his other school, no nuts. Are we?
Yeah, so we
nut
like
safe?
Yes,
okay.
We've got our nut-free table, and kids know where to go and sit.
Not trying to get in trouble at my first month.
Jenny, it works. System works pretty well.
Yeah, and we go through and we double check, like, all the teachers know in their class who has the allergy. And then so if we do have one in our class, if we double, triple, quadruple check the
Okay.
lunches to make sure.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
I got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Just for like guidance, for like figuring out like how often we should be sending our kids to hot lunch. Do you have like a number of like percent trying to get our kids in, just kind of make the number work for you?
That is a good question. So we do not pay Queen Anne Catering anything from the school. It's all based on what the kids order. So by you not ordering lunch doesn't impact us. Yeah. So however often or as little as you want.
Is there a lunch minimum that where they would just like add some work financially for us? So
We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I don't think it'll be an issue. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, they're at the schools I know off the top of my head: Fatima, St. Catherine, Our Lady of the Lake, Madeline Sophie in Bellevue, Christ the King. Similar size to our schools, and it's been working there for a number of years. So I think we'll be just fine.
I think also like pre-COVID, we had a hot lunch program where there was no vegetarian.
Yeah, it's way better.
I wasn't here before, so I don't know. I can't compare. All right. Moving on from lunch. Seattle Public Schools is a little bit all over the place right now with schedule changes and bus routes and all of those things. And maybe some of you are here tonight because of that. We needed to take a look at our schedule change, not necessarily because of bus routes. We don't have bus routes, but we wanted to come into closer compliance with the Washington State recommended instructional minutes. They give guidance for that, and we as a school need to do as good as a job that we can to be close. So the recommended guidance from the state is 1,725 minutes per 5-day week. We're currently 90 minutes under that, 1635. We will be adding to our school day next year by 40 minutes. And this is how it's going to look. K through 8, the start time is exactly the same. Start time does not change. It's 8:30. We're going to extend the school day by 10 minutes for K to 8. So it's a 3:15 dismissal. So maybe that's easier to remember. Wednesdays are not going to change at all. 2:15 dismissal on Wednesdays, 3:15 dismissal on every other day. Now, 10 minutes maybe doesn't seem like a lot, but over the course of a year, or just even as teachers are trying to fit in their daily 5 or their word work or their literacy or their phonics, 10 minutes is a lot for a primary teacher and middle school teacher in the day. Again, this is a student-driven choice. We felt that our students needed longer class periods, particularly in middle school, and more time to access their literacy block in primary. So that's the rationale behind this decision. Preschool will not be affected by this. They will still have a 3:05 pickup. And the reason being, if you have a student who's in the K through 8, I think it's probably going to take about 10 minutes to come in, get your student out the door, to the car, maybe in their car seat, or walk them down. I think by that time, it's going to be a wash for you if you've got kids in K to 8 in preschool. So we would just wanted to keep that consistent for that age. Any questions on longer school day, 10 minutes? You have 10 minutes of extra freedom at home. You can think of it that way. So. Couple updates for our preschool. This is probably my favorite picture of the entire year. Pre-COVID, we had 2 classrooms, the exploratory and the Montessori. With COVID and the need to have more social distancing, particularly with the younger students, we moved to 3 classrooms. So currently we have 2 exploratory classrooms and 1 Montessori classroom. Next year, we're going to be going back to the 2 classroom model. Mrs. Willingham and Ms. Peace here, will be in the there's Ms. Peace back there. Will be in the exploratory room. Ms. Robinson and Ms. Osina, who's also sitting back there, will be in our Montessori. The enrollment capacity for our preschool will not change. It's going to be 30 students still. Right now, that's just spread over 3 classes. It's going to be about 15 a class next year. Another kind of cool update is, as you probably know or may not know, the Montessori room is underneath the parish. It's right across the way here. It's not currently licensed for a full day program. We can have kids in there at a half increments at a time, half day morning or half day afternoon. We're very, very close to getting it licensed for full day, which I think will be a draw and a way to better market our Montessori program. We just have a few more things. We had a permit inspection last week. It's going to come back, and we had a few things to knock off our punch list. But that's just going to be another feather in our cap in terms of enrollment, marketing, that sort of thing. So pretty steady with preschool. Not much change here. Any questions about preschool? Again, if you know preschool families, Karen Brown is our admissions director, and she is the current preschool teacher. She'd be more than happy to give them a tour of the building and just show them our space. We're probably giving 3 or 4 preschool tours a week. I want to say it seems like this is kind of now's the time as parents are starting to think for next year. So if you know of any preschool age families, please connect them with us. We'd love to just show them around our campus. All right, primary updates, K through 4. The big news is a new literacy or phonics-based program that's called Access Literacy. And to be honest, I'm super stoked about this. You may have seen this little phonogram handout, and maybe you're like, oh my gosh, that seems scary and hard and crazy. We'll talk about this in just a moment. The reason why we're adopting a K3 or even K to 4 phonics program is because, to be honest, right now we're piecemealing it. There's no vertical integration. Our teachers are doing an excellent job in their individual classrooms, but it may not necessarily line up in terms of style or content, philosophy from grade to grade to grade. We really wanted to make sure that our approach was consistent, vertically aligned, and also research-based. There's a lot of programs out there that textbook publishers want to sell you, and they're digital, and they come with this sample pack, and you get a discount in the next 20 years or whatever. We're going with a program that is maybe people might think is back to the basics because it's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult, maybe even for you to understand. But I urge you to be patient. Just as our teachers are going to be patient, they're going to be learning this as well. We have already secured a 4-day training over the summer that our teachers voluntarily said yes to do during time that was not in their contractual days, so that they could learn this and do it for your kiddos. I'll be there as well and really excited to dig into this. But basically what it is explicit instruction of sound symbol relationships. That's basically saying, how do the letter combinations work inside words? Are there actually patterns to English? Yes, there are, even though it doesn't seem like it. In the principals that we've talked to implement this program have said, number one, it challenges readers who are already ahead, pushes them, and it also transforms struggling readers who are just trying to get by. This just gives them a whole new world because they start to understand the bones, the structures of what's happening. So I think we're going to see a rise of everyone. This isn't just for struggling students. It's not just for accelerated students. This is really going to benefit all students. You know, not just sight words either. It's not going to be just memorizing those word lists. There's going to be a rationale and a why behind it. In a multi-sensory approach, stimulating those neurons, different ways to access the words. So seeing it, hearing it, saying it, writing it. So just to give you an example of how this works. So I want you to think in your head, how do you spell this word that I'm about to say? How do you spell they? Just think in your head. Was it? Huh? They. Close. They, Thay. Good, Monty, you're correct today. Ernest, play again. But it's challenging. It's hard, right? And we probably knew in our head, yeah, They, but maybe some of us were thinking Thay. Totally fine. Ernest, you're on the right page. You're on the right phonogram, almost. And we're gonna figure out, like, why is it EY? Why is it EY? Is there actually a rule, or do I just have to memorize that? That's a lot of things to memorize. Children, according to research, who can spell a word can always read it. If you can spell it, you can always read it. That's pretty cool. But the reverse isn't necessarily true, okay? You might be able to read they on the page, but you may not ever be able to spell it. Who here thinks like, I can read just fine, but I'm not a great speller? Okay, yeah, maybe some of you. So what this program does is it equips our students with an understanding of phonograms, the sounds. There's lots of different types of AI, just the letter A, EY, AY, and then the orthography, which is just a fancy word for the spelling patterns. So your students will learn that TH makes not just the th sound, but the sound, okay? And they're gonna know which one to apply, okay? Or they'll at least have that baseline awareness that could be or th, right? And then the EY, okay, it says A or E that we do use at the English word, at the end of English words. For instance, they or key, as opposed to AY or AI or just A. So there's 72 of these phonogram patterns or sounds. You have the packet now. If you want to start doing a little bit of prep over the summer and you want to start training yourself, by all means, because we're going to be digging into this next year. Like I said, 72 of them, and your students aren't necessarily going to learn them in A, B, C, D, E order. They're actually going to learn them in the frequency in which the sounds occur, because that's going to make them stronger readers than just going through an arbitrary alphabetical list. So you'll see, I think, what's the first one on there? C, yeah. So, right, multiple ways to make that letter sound. And by the middle of first grade, they'll be at least introduced to all of these sounds. Okay, they'll be introduced to them in second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and on up. They'll be working on mastery of these sounds and being able to apply them. Like I said, I'm really excited about this. I think it gives us an intentional focus from classroom to classroom, a common language to use. And I really think it's gonna challenge our students. It's gonna be hard. And it's gonna be hard for you to just hang in there and want to support them, but we'll be there with you. Let's be patient on it. And like I said, our teachers are gonna come back on fire after this 4-day training, ready to go. And your help from the Funded Dream to get $25,000 in professional development, like this, these are the sorts of things, the sorts of projects that we're using that for. So we'll be able to, have our teachers, and like I said, ready to roll on day one. Any questions about phonograms? I also included, this was a letter off the Access Literacy website from the founders. I actually spoke to both of them the other day. Fabulous people. They're the ones who are going to come out and be doing the training for us. So it's not like they're sending minions who have no idea of how to interact with teachers or people. It's going to be them. So there's a little overview letter that you're welcome to read and explore. Dig into the website. There's plenty of good videos on there as well that I'll be sharing out.
For the kids that are in the older grades, so like second, third, does it mean for them that the first graduation is not at this juncture?
Yep. Yep, so there'll be a period of, you know, maybe you call it a crash course or whatnot, and that's what these trainers are gonna help us do. So, you know, third grade, you know, the first 5 weeks are gonna look a little bit different in year 1 than year 2, 3, and so on. So they'll get, you know, probably start where kindergarten is at in terms of what the sounds are. But I think that's just gonna build confidence rather than, oh my gosh, this is just drudgery. It's gonna build confidence so, you know, they can start reading at higher levels, sounding out words that they couldn't before.
And is the thought that like, because they can already read at some level, that like they'll get taught faster, or is it really gonna slow down their?
I don't think I think it's gonna speed it up as well. And really the emphasis is from spelling to reading too. So I think, again, that focus, can I spell these words? If I can spell it, then I can read it. So that in itself is gonna push them to higher levels of reading in that approach. Other questions? Yeah.
What happens with dyslexic?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It helps me. We did it. She's going to be in 8th grade, and we started her 3rd grade outside the same system here.
Yeah,
And the sensory piece helps.
And I was gonna say the same thing. We've been doing this program outside of the house for dyslexia. I'm excited to hear you guys are doing it. Disappointed that, we missed out on it. Yeah, but it made a big difference.
Yeah, I think as Matt was saying, just the hearing it, the approaching, accessing it in a different way rather than just putting pencil to paper right away, which can be frustrating and cause tears. I think seeing it come out of the word or the way that the teacher is putting the sound together, there's a lot of emphasis on look at my mouth in terms of, so we're gonna have to figure out how that's gonna work next year, face shields or whatnot for those teachers. But I think it's designed to help those dyslexic kids succeed. I wish I could give you a better answer right now. I've got to learn more myself. But yeah, it's a valid concern. But it's helpful to know that, you know, it seems like there's been success here.
How about the program for the parents that can't spell?
We should do
Little
a,
test at the end of the year.
your kids will be teaching you by the end of the year. Yeah. Somewhat related to this topic on diverse learners, we were wanting to take a look at how can we better support and accommodate our learners who maybe have dyslexia or ADHD or other learning differences in the building in a way that's more intentional and focused, because the current way that we're doing it, they're being pulled out during core instructional time to go up to Miss Allen, who's absolutely amazing, but it's at the same time as maybe when they're receiving instruction in literacy or instruction in grammar, vocabulary, or math. Usually not math, but it overlaps, and it's like, well, we want the child to be in the classroom with their core teacher. So we're able to talk with Senora Wilbur, who's our Spanish teacher, and see if we could create a schedule that better suits their needs and their accommodations, because a lot of these kids in their IEPs, 504s, or their doctor's diagnoses say a foreign language isn't necessarily recommended or useful for you at this stage in your brain development. And if we're putting a child in Spanish who's dyslexic and is struggling with facility of the English language, we're doing them kind of a disservice. What we'd like to do, and what we will be doing next year, is during Spanish time for students with IEPs, 504s, or again, those doctor diagnoses, they will be using that Spanish time for the learning resource time. Letters went home. If this counts as, or your student kind of qualifies for this, you're welcome to opt out, but I would strongly encourage you to have a conversation with Ms. Allen or myself. Again, this is just to help Miss Allen's time, because she supports a number of students in the building, for her to have that specific pullout with that class and that age level for that chunk of Spanish time, a couple times a week or one time a week, at least for 3rd grade and 4th grade, is huge. Rather than trying to work with the classroom teacher, when can I pull them out? There's not really a good time to pull out because everything is so important, right? So we thought Spanish was the best time to do it. I've talked to also the foreign language department at Bishop Blanchett, just because I have a relationship with him. He said, you know, but if a child does not have Spanish starting in 3rd grade or kindergarten or whatever, it's not going to make them totally unprepared for high school Spanish. Okay, imagine, I mean, we just had an alum in here who's taking German at Notre Dame. She first took German at Bishop Blanchett. Obviously, she's a smart student, but she didn't take a word of German at St. Al's, and she's thriving. So foreign language, you don't have to necessarily have started it from day one. You can start in high school, not have much exposure, and they're going to support you there, Spanish 1 and whatnot. So I don't want you to feel that my child will be way behind. Everyone's going to start at square one again, first day of high school. So, questions on this? Keeping with middle school, we wanted to take in our leadership team a close look at our bell schedule for middle schoolers. Middle school can be a circus in some ways. It's all a happy circus, but there's lots of acrobatics going on the 3rd floor. And sometimes we just want to make sure that they stick the landing first time. And these are just a few ways that we think are going to help them do that. So currently, there's 7 periods in the day and a pretty short day to begin with. That's a lot of movement throughout the building. It's a lot of, where did I put my notebook? Where's my backpack? Where's my lunch? I need to go downstairs for the bathroom. I need to come back upstairs. And there's a lot of time that's lost in these transitions. Class times are 45 minutes. I put that in quotation marks, 45 minutes. No passing periods are built into that 45 minutes. So a student might be leaving class, but the other class is technically beginning. That teacher is losing time. And if they have to go use the restroom, or if they have to go find a book that they should have brought, that's time outside of class. Wednesdays, they're quote 30-minute classes, even shorter. And it's a really, really difficult day instructionally to make it work. Our teachers do an amazing job, but we're not doing them any favors with the current schedule. And Jenny, I think this is correct, but homeroom on Wednesdays, so there's a community time for half an hour, and then we have a half-hour period at the end of the day that alternates sometimes between a prayer assembly or families, but there's oftentimes 60 minutes of homeroom on Wednesdays. That's kind of a hangover from COVID, I believe. Online school is great. Kids needed to check in. They needed those mental checks and like stuff that was not necessarily school related for check-ins. It's just not a hangover or something that we need to carry on in in-person school. So changes to the bell schedule. It's not too terribly dramatic, but I think it's going to really help. It's a 6-period day, 50 to 55-minute classes. Classes will be a little bit longer depending on the subject area. 2-minute passing periods, which I think is going to help with accountability. You need to be in class. You can't dilly-dally in the hallway going back and forth. There's an accountability to get in class in your seat. The teacher's going to start. Working on getting a bell system. I don't know how that's going to happen, but we can just do it for the 3rd floor. But I know it does seem kind of old school, but really our students need to learn how to take responsibility for where they're going, managing their time. This is just a small way to help them do that. Wednesdays also will be 50 to 55-minute classes. So you're not going to have that community time necessarily. We'll still have twice a month, either families or prayer assembly. So we're maintaining that community time, but you know, at the start of the day, students have homeroom time. At the end of the day, they have a little bit of homeroom time. And we think that's plenty for them. And they've got plenty of other interaction during the day for that community time. So those are some major changes there. Yeah, question?
What's the one fewer class that they have?
So I'll talk about that on this slide here. In order, Ashley, to make 7 periods go to 6 periods, yeah, you have to sacrifice some things. And let me just currently outline how we have it set up now. So Spanish is 2 times a week with a combined grade level. So 5th and 6th grade go to Spanish together. 7th and 8th grade go to Spanish together currently. Electives, it's currently 4 times a week, combined grade levels again. Actually, these electives, you have kids in 5th grade all the way up to 8th grade in the electives. Just pros and cons. Religion, it's 4 times a week, combined grade levels. Humanities, and by that I mean your social studies and language arts, they're separate periods during the day. So in order to make the 6 periods work, there's some serious gymnastics took place, and we're still in the works here, but I could at least give you an overview. Spanish is going to stay 2 times a week, but it's going to become single grade level, meaning all 5th graders will go to Spanish on one day. Then all 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, and so on. The reason why is because it's really hard to maintain a coherent sequence if you're in a combined grade level classroom and you learned the colors and numbers last year, and then you're a 6th grader now, but then there's 5th graders also in your class, and you got to relearn those colors and numbers from the same way. So it's just, it doesn't make sense. And it's not easy for Miss Wilbur to get them to push them to a higher level if there will always be reteaching involved. I understand that, but this is going to be able to have a more consistent sequence throughout their 4 years of middle school from 5th through 8th. Electives. Talk to a number of other schools, and you know, I love our elective time. It's great, but it's probably more than what we need to be doing. And we need to give some more time back to math. We need to give some more time back to our humanities. I like that we have longer class periods, so we're not feeling so rushed, but electives will only be two times a week now, as opposed to 4. They will also be single grade level. And I love this because, as you know, we adopted a new core knowledge, history, and geography curriculum. So 5th graders, instead of being in there with 8th graders too, they can actually focus on what they were doing in their social studies class for 5th grade or for 6th grade. And they can intentionally pick, hey, you're learning about the Middle Ages. Let's learn about Gothic architecture and art, or iconography from the East or whatnot. And it can be intentionally integrated into those elective classes as well. Part of our mission here is to educate the whole child. And a problem that I've just seen with electives this year is you can really get through your time here, maybe taking 1 art class in middle school, or just kind of picking what you want to pick, and it puts the teachers in a tough position to give first choices, second choices, third choices. And we're like, in 5th grade, it's like, you need art, you need music, you need drama. We want to educate the whole child. So yes, I understand PE is super fun. Health and fitness is super fun, but you don't need it 6 times a week. So we're going to probably start calling electives enrichment. Sorry to say, but your students aren't going to have much of a say in what they get for their enrichment. It's going to be a sequence. Everyone's going to get the same thing at a proper order, but electives are a rarity even in high school. Like, you wait until like the end of high school to have your electives. So we want our students to be well-rounded, and we think that, especially since it's going to be better connected to our curriculum, that they're going to get some really good learning outcomes from this. by intentionality in art, music, you know, even sequencing our coding classes to have a coding 1 in those 5-6 years and a coding 2 in those 7-8 years, so we can start to build on those skills. Humanities, this one is still kind of up in the air, but we would love to try and put these classes back to back. So you kind of have a mega period or a prolonged period. Ms. Bender teaches humanities, Ms. Pollock teaches humanities. So if you have your social studies, you'd have your language arts right immediately afterwards. So really those can become blurred classes, meaning there's better integration that's happening. So if you're studying Rome, you can just as easily pick up and read Julius Caesar at the same time. And there's less of like this siloed mentality, this fragmented nature of our education, because we really want to see everything connected back to the whole. Again, like I said, there has to be some scheduling gymnastics to make this happen, but still the approach is there. That's what we're trying to do. It's super, super difficult with a single gender school to make all of these things happen. We've been working on this since, January, and we don't quite have it how we want yet. But I will say that our teachers, particularly our middle school teachers, are on board with this. They think this is going to better serve your students. But we don't, I wish I could hand you the schedule and say, this is it. There's more tweaks that we need to do. Any questions? Yeah. Yeah, so loosely, probably art and music, 5th grade and 6th grade. And we operate on a trimester system. So it's going to be like a trimester of music, trimester of art, perhaps a trimester of drama. Okay. The later 7th and 8th grade might be a trimester of coding, trimester of health and fitness. Maybe there might be an elective opportunity. You can choose between art and music or something of that nature. I don't have it ironed out necessarily, but we know which classes, but where we're going to plug them. Not sure yet. Other questions on
By
this piece?
single
Yeah.
grade level, you mean single grade level boys and girls, or single grade level?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mention that. So single grade level Spanish, that's going to mean boys and girls are in that class together. We're going to retain our core classes as single gender, but more of our electives are going to be combined grade level. It just works from a curriculum standpoint. We will maintain the single gender for the core, but for the enrichment, single grade level is better. I realized I forgot to talk about religion on here. Religion will also be 2 times a week. And people might think, oh my goodness, like you're losing your Catholic identity 2 times a week, religion. Again, my intention is greater integration. I'm going to religion and I only do religion in religion. So we as a faculty have to work on how can I integrate some of those topics into my science class? How can I integrate that into the humanities again? Religion classes will be longer. That doesn't necessarily totally offset the 4 times a week, but we're working towards greater integration because as a Catholic school, Catholic meaning part of the whole, we want to see everything in communion with each other. We're also probably be building in just like a 5-minute prayer time each day at the end of lunch, once kids come in from recess and they're hot and they're sweaty and they're all over the place, for recentering, to do a daily examine or a different prayer or whatnot. So trying to build in just the habit and the routine of prayer into the school day as well is an effort to build that Catholic identity and mission there. So it's going to look different. It's going to feel different. We'll still be going to Mass on Wednesdays, which technically by the Archdiocese counts as religion time. And we go to Mass weekly, which not very many schools do anymore. And it's a point of pride for us because it is such a source of community, and especially when those younger students go and they sit with their buddies and whatnot. It's a beautiful sight to see. Other questions on this piece? Middle school math. So we have some high achievers in math for next school year. And so by that, I mean, we have some 7th graders who are currently doing algebra, and we want to support them next year. And it's going to look like a 0-period geometry. Number of schools do this. It's really the only way that you can make this work with the teaching load and the faculty. So probably going to be 7:30, 7:40 start time for geometry for those few students. But one of our teachers is going to be there for them and guide them through that high school level class. Algebra is already a high school level class. So that will be an offering that we have next year. If we have students who need it every year, we'll offer it. If we don't, we're obviously not going to be there. We also want to just do a better job of offering help in mathematics. We have 3 teachers in our middle school floor who teach mathematics, and they have expressed to me, we want to help our students. Just tell me, do I need to come before school? Do I need to come after school? Just tell me what I got to do, and I want to support them. They're willing to show up early, give you extra help, help your student. You know, if they're struggling in the classroom, it can be so beneficial to have that one-on-one or two-on-one time. So we'll have that. We currently have a homework center that's after school. I would expect you to see particularly for math, homework center before school next year on certain days of the week, just so we can better support you. Curriculum wise, we will be undergoing just a year-long selection process. I wanted to have something for you next year, but I thought it would be better just to be patient. And if you've realized, I like just giving our teachers extra work and new curriculums to adopt, and they're like, pump the brakes. So we just want to be methodical and patient about how we select our curriculum and just making sure that it's consistent. Again, that's a theme, consistent across our middle school years. Right now, I think we use Go Math up to 6th grade, and then we've got a textbook from, probably won't even tell you when it was published, and another textbook. It's fine, but we just want to make sure that we're using 21st century math skills, that this is relevant, that this is preparing them well for high school math. So I'll be talking to other principals, I'll be talking to publishers, we'll get some samples in and just make sure that we make the right choice. Because I know people care about math particularly because it opens the door to a lot of other things. So we want to make sure that we do it right. Couple other little questions, sorry.
0-period geometry, is that sort of intended to potentially place a student in a higher level math class in high school, or is it more to just sort of get a broader foundation? Like where
I think probably both. I think students who are currently in algebra or pursuing geometry, they all have to test to get into these honors courses or whatnot. I think it just gives them that foundation and footing to test well. And if they want to take Calc A, Calc B in high school, that then becomes a really viable option for them.
Well, my son, he took geometry here and algebra 2 here, and he's a freshman at Ballard pre-calc. He's not having any problem. So they will push you if. Sorry, I'm not sure.
There's a math term called outlier.
You can't teach one. It gives you geometry.
Yeah.
But also I would say don't push them through.
Right, and thanks for saying that, Jenny, because we have to realize too that algebra is a high school level course, and frankly, just 8th grade algebra, just the pace, the way it's just inevitably going to look different than 9th grade algebra. And I think it's not a bad idea if you take algebra here, even if you did well in algebra here, still take algebra in high school to get that firm foundation. They usually offer a summer geometry course. You can crank out summer geometry in 5 weeks, and then you're still on pace. So there's a number of different ways to do it. Talk to your middle school math teacher or myself. Questions. So. Couple other just exciting things. Sorry. Yeah.
Question on that.
Yeah.
For current sixth graders going into seventh grade, will there be, I know my older one had a like selection kind of test and process of determining which math they went into in seventh grade. Will that be happening or? is
Yes. And Jenny, tell me when
No,
the
we're
best
not
time.
doing that anymore.
that- Okay.
No,
Oh, sorry.
Is there a chance for them to?
Well,
be on that route,
they're
or-
all gonna go to pre-op.
Oh, okay.
So we, in the complication of everything, we were trying to have so many math levels and we just couldn't accommodate. So we're going back to how we originally did it, where it would be fifth grade math, sixth grade math, and then everybody goes to pre-algebra and everybody goes to algebra.
Okay.
Now, we have to realize that when we say all seventh graders will take pre-algebra, some of them, you know, may be really, they can get it right away, and then some of them may not. So we're looking at a classroom where everybody's in pre-algebra, but they may be taking it at a different speed. Same way with how they get into eighth grade.
Right. And, you know, I think we'll still offer that test because that's going to be helpful data for our teachers. It may not necessarily place them in seventh grade or pre-algebra because, like you said, we're going to be rolling kids into pre-algebra, but how can we support them right off the bat? Where are they at? Will be helpful. Yeah. Any other math questions? We were able to win some grants, which is free money is always, won't turn that down. Fulcrum Foundation, which is a local foundation here that supports Catholic schools. We had an excellent school partnership grant, among other things, the most exciting things. We get some funding to have what's called core classics, class sets in, you know, 4th grade through 8th grade for selected novels. Core classics is connected to core knowledge, our social studies and history geography program. So, you know, if your student is reading Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, they're probably also studying the American Civil War. If, as I mentioned earlier, if they're studying Rome, they're going to be reading Julius Caesar. If they're studying ancient Greece, they're going to be reading the Iliad or the Odyssey. Being able to have, again, that integration and just making the mental connections, I think just broadens knowledge. And it's going to be really cool for our students to, or for our teachers and students to roll out. So again, these aren't necessarily like fresh, hot off the press at the Scholastic Book Fair. These are classics. So Robin Hood, Robinson Crusoe, what else is on here? Let me jog my memory. King Arthur, yeah, the Iliad, the Odyssey, Midsummer Night's Dream. So your students are going to be immersed in kind of the richness of the literary canon. We think that they're worth being exposed to, for sure. Another grant that we won was an early childhood learning grant. This is for a very exciting HVAC or ventilation system in our Montessori preschool so that we can get to that full licensure. And then I also forgot to mention, we got some funding for laptops. We have some Acers that they're old, they're long in the tooth. So those will be being replaced and just help with map testing particularly, and just 21st century work that our students will be able to do on those. You know of any other grants or free money anywhere? Just lastly, we're doing, oh my gosh, don't look at your watches. Departing staff, as you know, Mr. Kevin left us a couple weeks ago to start and pursue his own business for home renovations. We've never seen him without a mask. There he is. He's a good-looking gentleman. We miss him, and we are currently interviewing facilities supervisors. Well, took a walk around campus today with one. We've interviewed probably 3 or 4. So we're hoping to get someone just even before the start of the end of this school year. Donna Peterson, I realize these are out of order. She's on the far right. She's been assisting in our morning exploratory class, and she's moving to Arizona to be closer with her daughters and granddaughters. She's a tremendous asset, so we're gonna miss her so much. She was previously kindergarten aide. We are gonna have a larger kindergarten class next year, shaping up to be about 20 students. So we are looking for a kindergarten aide. If you know of anyone, again, please let me know. And then the other person, Lisa Mackenberg, you know her probably from Recess and just all-time utility player here. Subs, does, just first aid, is just so tender and loving to all of our kids and to our faculty. She was asked to basically do this position several years ago, and it's just time for her to move on for new things. And she's just so grateful for this community, and we're gonna miss her deeply too. So that's kind of a tough one to replace, but we will find a way. We'll find a way. First grade teacher, obviously with Sarah. Transitioning roles, we're interviewing 2 candidates tomorrow for that position, which I'm really excited about. So I'd love to basically have all of our hiring needs done before June, which would give me an easier summer and use some peace of mind. So, the staff, and then a couple things about just our parish side. So the convent, for those of you who don't know, this building right across the way is a convent that the Society of Our Lady of the Most Holy Trinity occupied for a number of years, and probably other religious orders before them. This is a vacant building. The Salt sisters left in December. It's not necessarily in the school's realm to figure out what happens there. I can offer input. I've offered a number of ideas that benefit the school, but we are a ministry of the parish, and we get to use this space because of the parish. So whatever happens over there, well, it's not going to undermine what we do here. We'll work in tandem and collaboration, but the Archdiocese, this is in their plate, it's in their hands, because Father Richard is leaving. He didn't feel like it was the right time for him to make an ultimate decision. Archdiocese will let us know when we're closer. Arriving soon, I think he might even be on campus this week, and I have to get his name. I'm used to saying Aloysius, but he pronounces it Father Aloysius Sinsamba, and I think he just goes by Father Luigi. So he doesn't necessarily look like a Luigi, but he spent some time in Italy, and I think that's where he picked up the nickname. He's from Uganda. Michelle's mother is actually a parishioner of his in Centralia. So I've heard wonderful things about him. We're excited to welcome him into St. Al's. And then Father Richard, who's been here for the past 5 or 6 years, and comes over, cleans the toilets, fixes the windows, orders toilet paper. He does everything that basically nobody wants to do. Turns on the grills, figures out how to light the pilot light for the family center. And I've gotten really close with him, and I'm gonna be just bummed to see him go. So I invite you to attend his farewell party on the 26th after Mass. I know that's in the summertime, but I think we'll make that a family Mass, even give out some free uniform passes for the next school year to come. But he would really appreciate it. Just wish him farewell. So, yeah, I've gone over. I did not. I'm sorry. I owe you 10 minutes. But are there any questions that came up or things that weren't addressed that you'd like to hear about?
Super helpful. That was great. Thank you.
And like I said too, I wish I could give you more clarity on our schedule. I wish I could give our teachers more clarity on some of the schedule stuff. We'll let you know as soon as we can on that front. And I'm certain there will be more changes as well now and next school year. But again, like I said, this is just for you to be informed and hopefully excited, because we're doing good things. We're doing good things and we're on a great trajectory. I love this school so much. It's because of you guys, it's because of your students. Love being here. So thank you for coming, especially those who will be joining us next school year. Tell your friends. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.